Okay, I think I'm ready to get started just about. All right. So it's me, Gilbert, with HPDS. I will be working again tonight on this Algodroids site, this application that I'm making with a fellow user on Twitter named Troxel. These are his creations. I'm just creating an app that will be used to interact with these uh, Algorand assets. But I am still working with Tailwind. And if you noticed, I have some code back here. There it is. I've been working on this code the past few live sessions. And I will start off by focusing on this container. I last time yesterday when I used this, I wasn't really using it correctly. I found out. So I'm gonna go ahead and see what I did here. Let's take a look at this code. This is, of course, the index page, and it shows this page, not this guy. It shows this page right here. So, of course, this is the index page, and this is the code that belongs to it. So, in this code, what you'll see is I divided these images with the H1s with the paragraphs all got placed into their own section, if you notice. And in each of these sections, I actually went ahead and put a container, and I thought this was actually kind of how you do. Um, I was thinking again. I have a bootstrap background, so I was kind of thinking that maybe this did something else that I was like more like the rows or something. But that's not what it was doing at all. So I let me show you the code again. Let's go back into the documentation for Tailwind, and I'll start explaining a little bit more about this container. So, of course, tailwindcss.com. This is their website that you can, you come to the documentation up here. And I was looking down the left hand side. We're going to where we find out. See, so you notice this is the layout. So we're looking at the layout section. So in the layout is where we had a container, and it is a component for fixing an element's width to the current breakpoint. So again, what this is doing, and I demonstrated it a few live sessions back where uh, if you notice, let's go ahead and inspect this page again. If you notice the background, you'll notice that it's more fluid. And so, oh yeah, so actually that is what I was doing. You know what? I clearly don't remember what I was doing last time because it seems to work exactly like I want it to. So I turned out at the end of that video, I must have figured out. I don't even remember working on it. I go throughout the day, I've been working on something else completely. And so now when I'm getting onto this, I forgot where I left off. So apparently I was using container, right? So yeah, remember this is how the container worked. Where if you notice, the images are staying static while the background, though, the main background, which is that background gray, that is staying fluid, but the containers stay very. Oh yeah, and I'd even worked on the size of uh the text font. Wow, so I got a little bit further ahead than I remember last night. So yeah, we got big and then bigger text. Okay, great. I guess I could work on colors if I wanted to, but I'm not going to. Before I get back to this, I'm gonna create something better for this site as far as that. But for right now, that'll work. So okay, so then I guess I'm still gonna be working. I said I'm gonna still focus on Tailwind. I got to learn some more about how Tailwind works. So let's see. Let's move on then to this gallery. So let's move off of the home page and let's move into this gallery page now. And let's just see what we can come up with here. So let's take a look. This is Chalk's gallery. If you notice, remember, I did use the flex box in this particular. So let's go back to the code and see what we've got going on in the code over here. So we've got the index. Let's go to the gallery page, and I'm going to move this gallery up a little bit closer. So this is the gallery. And what do we have in this particular? So if we scroll down, this is the HTML. Where's the HTML over here? I've got a lot of old stuff. So create current page. So this is the here's the return from the render. So here's the HTML. We've just got a class. We've got a background 200 container MX Auto PX4. That is very similar to this one, remember, but we ended up taking off everything else and just putting in the BG grade 200. So remember, this is that container. And I guess I could go back since let's talk about the container. You notice how there's let's go back to the web, the site. If you notice on either side of this gray background, you'll see some white. So that is the MX Auto. So that's the margin, right? So, and then you'll notice again, if you notice the gray backdrop changes sizes. It's not flexible. It's actually acting more like the sections that we did. Remember, we made the sections on the home page act like that, but the background we want it to be kind of fluid. So I'm going to go ahead and stay with that kind of concept. So we've got this div class name. I'm going to go ahead and take out all of this, and we're just going to keep the background gray. And so you probably didn't see the update, but there it is. You didn't see the code. Let me share the code. This code, you'll notice now does not have the containers. So we can go back over here and we'll see what has happened here is that the background is now that fluidness. So that's pretty cool. That's what that is. I'm getting more used to how this container works. And usually oh look, and now we'll see though, but let's take a look. You see how you notice up here we've got our links and they're just numbers. They're all off to the side. We've got no padding inside of this. Which is fine because I'm going to have to turn these links into something. So let's go ahead and actually see what we've got as far as, I don't know, some links in this Tailwind. So how can we mess with links? Do we see any links right now? I don't see links yet. Text color, link, list style. I guess we could also work with these list style types because those are lists. So we can see what list none, list this, let's see. You've got this where you've got some list. And so we're not really looking at the lists like that. We kind of want them actually list style position, list inside, list outside, list inside, list outside. Oh, I see the background. Do you notice that? Yeah, sure. That's not really what I'm looking for though. So let's keep looking. Do I see anything as to links, interactivity, pointer events? True, I still don't see anything about links. Typography, animation, toggle layout. So sepia filters, divide. There's got to be something about links in here, right? Text transform. So maybe I guess when it comes to the links are not styled at all because these are all anchors as well. So these anchors, if you notice, when we're on this page, let's go to here. In this div, you'll notice that each of these divs are an anchor. So for some reason, and it doesn't need an href because it is handled by the JavaScript within the React component. So that's something that I don't think that should change the. Let's take a look. If you look down on the right hand side, we see that the color is inherent, and so it doesn't really have any kind of styling. I mean, we could go color red, and so now you'll notice that I changed it. You can barely see it, but there it is, color red on the left hand side. So either way, so we really have to style the entire link for ourselves. I find that kind of strange, but I understand how it really this its mindset though. I do think I kind of see where they're coming from. So let me see. I just want to take a look one more time. We've got floats, clear, box layout, customization. I don't see anything about the links in general. And I also don't see anything about pagination. So that is something that I'm just going to have to build all the way. I'm going to have to figure out how to make myself. So I'm going to have to make these like. So now, okay, so I guess we just do it however we want to do it. That's interesting. Just building it from the ground up. Let's go ahead and make boxes around these, and then kind of center them. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and get back into the code. And let's get into the code. Where are we in the code? So we've got, you see, we've got the div, that's the main div. We've got this navigation, which is the navigation. I'm not going to change that. But then we've got, this is the gallery. Then we've got the index links. So the index links actually gets created down here in create index. And you'll see it, I'm making it in a for loop. So here's the div, and they all have to have a key. Then we have here the A on click, and you'll see that it takes you to all it's doing is changing some this dot index click. If you notice that this is a method, this index click, this is handling the click. I'm getting now into the React component. So you'll notice that on this on click method, which is in the A, we're index click, we're clicking the index, and we're throwing out the mouse event and the page number, and this sets the state for the page index using this page. So anyway, so that's just, and you'll notice that right here, all we're doing is putting the numbers. So this A is what we have to do something about it. I guess what we could do is we can go back into this config. Was it in the config? No, we got to go into the globals. So here we've got this base, and we've got H1, H2, and P. Now, I don't want all the links to lift this. I really only want these particular links, the index link. So what are we going to do? How are we going to do this? It seems to me that if we could put an H1 or an H2 in the base, we could potentially just put a class name. So I'm going to go ahead and see if that works. So, you see we got H1, H2. And then I'm going to go ahead and go back to, let's go to the, where is it? The gallery. So in this gallery on this A, which is the anchor link, I'm going to just go ahead and do class name equals, and then we'll just go to index link, right? Index link, something along those lines, index link. And so when we come back to the globals, underneath this paragraph, let's go ahead and put dot index link, and then let's do that. And right away, let's just go ahead and do apply, and then we'll do color red, right? No, blue is what links are. Color blue. Apply color blue. And I don't even remember, it should be text blue actually. So it's not this color blue. I'm thinking of something else. It should be apply text blue, and let's go with 900. Text blue 900. Just like I'm just copying like this up here. So the text blue, remember? So we go back to this and you come back to this left-hand side and we can find, where do we find text color? Text color. I did text align. Text color, text, and so you got all the different colors. Remember that? Text red. So I did, should be working. I do see this color change. Is it color changed? If it is color changed, let me see. I'm looking at these. Class index link. Index link does have this color. You see how it's got this? Oh no, you can't see it. Okay, so I've changed the code, and now you can, here's the page again. So you can't really see this. Let me do some more changing. I think, let me do this side by side. And you can actually make this probably bigger. Okay, so let's try this a little side by side. Okay, so let me go back to this gallery. And I got to do some things because this is just not working out. This div, okay, we're going back up to this page right here. This is where we have the index links. So this index links, I'm just kicking back. What am I kicking back? I'm just kicking back a div with some, I'm just kicking back a bunch of divs with some A's in it. So I really got to put this inside of its own div, right? So let's go, let's put in a nav, right? We'll put in a nav and we'll X this and we'll put that. And now I don't think I have any nav settings. So let me take a look. They're still there. We've got nav. And so this is just let's go ahead and put everything. Remember, now we can put class names. These Tailwind class names, we do what? Text center. So now we're doing that. Let's see what happens. Now everything got centered. I do notice that. So right away, that centered everything in there. We don't want these sitting on top of each other. So we kind of want to do a flex box. So remember, let's go ahead and first let's put square. Let's put these guys in squares. So let's put a border. So let's take a look at the borders again. What can we find as borders? So if we go back to this, let's see, I'm sure we got to find the border. Core concepts, colors, break. I think it was, you just put order. Come on now, right when you need it. I don't have it. Text, background, border, right? It should be border. There it is. Border radius, border width. So there's so many different kinds of borders. So I guess you start off with border does border. So I guess I should have just realized that. So not in these, but down here we got to go back to this right here. We're going to go in this div. I think it'll be in this div right here. It's got a class. We're going to go class name equals, and I guess we just put border, and that does like a 1 pixel border. But let me go back to this page. There's still no border though. So why is there no border? It could be the color. I could be looking at the color. I think maybe when I look real hard and squint, maybe I do see a border, but I'm not seeing it right off the bat. So let's go ahead and just do border, border 4, border 4. So that's how you do border. You just do border 4. Let me take a look real quick. See how this is going. So I did put border 4 and I'm still not seeing much. And I remember last time I had the problem. So border color. Let's go border black. So border black, border 4, right? So we got border 4, border black. Does that work? Border 4, border black. Yep, there it is. I thought I saw it, but I couldn't make it out because of the color. So you see, that's what's going on here. So now we've got a bunch of boxes, and I kind of don't like that. You kind of don't want these boxes like this, you know, so and you still have to click on the number. So let's go ahead and put this index on click. Let's go this class name on click. Let's go ahead and take this out on click, X out of that, and let's put the on click on the div itself. So instead of on the link, let's do it like that. So I'm gonna go back, and now let's see, when I click over here, there it's actually changing just based off of that. So I could even start changing the on hovers, but I'm not that far into this yet. So now we've got that going though, but these borders look really dumb. So we're gonna do what, a flex box now around them. So that's what I was kind of concerned about. We're gonna turn this now. If we go back over to the code, let's go this where is it? We're in the nav that's called text center. This nav right here. So if this nav has text center, we could also put flex. And now let's put what flex. You see, that's right away throwing them into the boxes. So now that's more what we're looking for. So we've got this flex, and it starts throwing the borders. So we do need to make it. Now we can make somehow the width. How do we make the width? Can we change widths, line height, font height, width, min width? So check it out. We've got sizing right here. So this width is what I'm kind of maybe looking for, setting the width of an element. You can use it to unset a specific screen fixed width, with 8, with 12, with 16, with 24. So you see right here we've got widths. So we can actually set the width to something more like this 8 right here. Yeah, we're gonna look. Okay, so now, and we also got fluid width. So this is pretty cool. Fluid W fraction or W full to set an element to a percentage based width. A fraction, 1/2, 2/5, 1/3. Oh, this is very interesting because this seems to be what needs to be done sometimes. This is kind of like what I was thinking about with in Bootstrap, where you've got your rows with your columns, and your columns are set with. So now this is showing me that I can actually just use the width, and you could use a fraction with 1/2. So that's pretty cool. With 1/6, with full. So you've got a few fractions you can actually do, which is pretty cool. And let's see, here's the responsive. Oh, and then of course you could do the responsiveness by adding a class, the size. So right here you see the medium. So okay, so I think, and then you've got some more information where you can actually do some spacing. You can change the spacing right here. Let's see, use the theme. Yeah, and you can even, and you also got to set the right here 1/7, 3/7, 4/7, and this is actually percentages. Okay, so that's really interesting. You've got to actually set that too, and then your variance. Oh, look, there's another phone call. Yeah. So let's see. I'm gonna give this a little bit more time. Okay, so we've got here. We keep going. So yeah, so this is the width that we could be using. So that's great. So I'm gonna go ahead and use width 8 though. I'm not gonna use one of the fractions. I'm gonna use W8. So we're gonna go back to this coding over here, and before I do that, let's go to this. We see this. I'm messing with these links right here. So now we've got these index links. Here we are. We're in this class name. It's the A. I guess we could do it right here in the. We tried. I was gonna put index link, and I never did get around to that. I did put it around here, text blue. That kind of did work. So I guess right here in these, I can change. I could do it right here. So let's do apply. And what are we applying? We're applying W 8, right? So apply W8. So this is interesting. I'm just doing this a different style because I could also just do it right in the component itself. If you think about it, I could have just done it over here in the gallery. I could just do it right here in this class name, but you notice how I've done index link. And so let's see. I don't think that really worked out as well as I wanted it to. So let me take a look at, I'm going to right click this and I'm going to go to this A. And I have index link. Let's see, color width, 2 rems. I do see that the width is a certain size. The width is 8. And what is the width? W8, 2 rems. So it says it's the right size. But let's go ahead then and change it to, let's get rid of this particular, and let's go back to the gallery and let's just go ahead and do it on the div. So we'll just do it like this in the hard code. So the border black, we're going to also do W8. So let's see if this has a better design. So when this saves, when this restarts, there you go. So now that looks better. So it's not actually the anchor that I should have been focusing. It's on this. So now let's see what else I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and take that navigation and I'm gonna give it. Let's center it. Can we center that on the page? Where am I at? So you notice how those boxes are just sitting all the way to the left. So we want to go ahead and center those. And how are we gonna center that? Well, actually, you know what? We don't even have to center it. Let's just give it some margin. And so where am I going to find that? We're going to go to this div on click. And then, but it's going to be actually in this index link right here so that we've got flex. So this nav, let's go ahead and do, remember we could do padding and we could do padding from one side. So of course I'm going to go ahead and take a look at that so that we make sure we're getting it right, because it should be P and I think it's going to be L for the left hand side. I don't remember exactly. I've used top and bottom, but I didn't use the sides because I did use PX, but I'm just wanting to do one size. So here it is, margin, and we're actually going to do margin, right? Not padding. So margin to a single side, top, right, bottom, left size. Okay, great. So it is, we're going to go back to this page and you see how we've got that. We're going to go into the code right here on this nav. We're going to go ahead and do margin left. And then we're going to go ahead and do 8. And so now you see we've got some more. Let's do 12. And so there you go. That looks a little bit better. And of course, you know, if I wanted to, I could start designing, you know, like an arrow on, you know, back or something. But right now we've got a box and we've got some links. These links, let's go ahead and now let's go and move into something right here. If we go into these text, let's see, font style, font weight. So we could do some things right here. Text decoration. So text decoration, we're going to underline it because links are normally underlined, right? So class underline. It's as simple as underlining. And we're going to do that in the global CSS. So on the left-hand side, if you remember, we're going to do this in the index link. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. But instead of W8, we're going to do underline. Apply underline. So the index link, if you remember, that's focusing on the anchor inside of this particular. So let's see if it refreshes, if there's any underlining going on. And in fact, let's change the size of these. Let's see, did that work? There it is. There's some underlining going on. That text is way too small. So we're going to change the text, the font. It's a font size. Let's go ahead and do that text 2XL, right? So that's let's go ahead and do apply text 2XL semicolon. So now as it refreshes, let's take a look at what happens. Look, they're much bigger now. We can even, let's go ahead and give some padding or some margin to the boxes themselves, because now these squares are too close. So let's go back into the, let's look at this and let's go back to the code. And what are we going to do? We're going to go to this gallery. And so now if we're going to find that, that's going to be in between these guys right here. So that's in this. So we've got a border 4, border black, W8. So this, we've got the width. So these guys need some margin X, right? So we're going to go margin X, and we'll give them margin X of like 4. I forget what sizes we've got for margin. Look at that. That's way too much margin. Let's go 2 margin, because we are effectively, let's go margin 1. There you go. That's probably best. MX1. So now we've got this. We've got, and let's also give it some padding, because I don't like that padding. And we'll just do padding 1 and give them all like one more padding. That looks not too bad. So we've got, it's like a little navigation system, you know, it's not the greatest right now. Oh, I think I broke it. I wasn't supposed to do that. Let's see. Yeah, I remember why, because of the numbers. I got those hard coded too. So anyway, so now we've got that going. That looks kind of a lot better than what it was looking. So, you know, that's why I need to work on the Tailwind, because it was looking really silly. I couldn't even, it was, in fact, it looked so bad that I couldn't even use it. In fact, before I get going on this, let's do some hover action to this too, because now that this is going, we can change the hover. So what was it that we could do? Remember, there's a way to actually do the anonymous stuff, or the I forgot what it's called, but let's see what it is. Let's take a look what we can find, because I need to do it on the floats, on the and I forgot where I'd seen it. It's got to be down at the bottom. Borders, the effects, no, the filters, grayscale. Oh, look, there's filters, tables, transitions. So I'm getting closer. Interactivity, cursor, pointer events, appearance, rotate. So it's got to be somewhere right here. It's got to be an appearance, maybe interactivity, appearance, none. Yes, no. Man, where did I find it? I had seen it at some point. Let's go. Let's just go on hover. Hover, focus, and other states. Okay, so there it is. Core concepts. Hover, focus, and other states. So that's what we're looking for. I was not seeing where it was. So your email. So you see when you put the focus on it, and then you see how this hovers when there's a hover. And that's kind of what I want to do. I want to change, for example, on hover. Oh, look, you just as simple as putting in uh the name of the action right here, the state hover, and then you put in the entire, you just put in wow, so it's as simple as just putting hover colon and then any other Tailwind class name. Focus ring 2. So wow, that's pretty cool. So I guess we'll just do focus background color blue or something, right? So let's do that. So now we've got this div, and it's this border, and I guess we're just gonna go ahead and go hover. And what are we gonna do? Background blue 200, right? I guess. And now, yeah, cool. So now we've got this hover effect, and I guess we could change the mouse some way. So let's find a way to do mouse, change the mouse. I'm just gonna type it in, because I'm at that point. At a certain point, you just, let's see. Pointer. It's pointer events. Pointer, cursor, pointer. So it calls it cursor pointer. So cursor auto. So you could change cursor default, cursor point, cursor. So which one are we looking for? Cursor default. Hover over this. That's the default. This is auto default pointer. That's what we're looking for. Pointer. So hover cursor pointer is what we're gonna do. So you notice right here it turns blue. Now we're gonna make it into that. Let's see. We'll go hover cursor pointer. Right? So now we've got that going for us too. So let's see what happens when this refreshes finally. Was it pointer? Yeah, why is cursor pointer? Cursor pointer. Oh, I spelled cursor wrong, didn't I? No, I spelled cursor right. Cursor pointer. Hover cursor pointer. Oops. Let me see what is going on. It could just be doing that thing. No, it's not doing it now. Why is the hover cursor pointer not working? So what am I looking at wrong? Cursor pointer. Class. Cursor pointer. Oh, I guess you just don't even have to do hover. You just do cursor pointer. Okay, so I get it. So let's just get rid of the hover. I think that's what's going on here. We don't even need the hover, and I just did that in the code. So now if we go back, there it is. That's better. So that's a much better and more. That's a much better navigation system. Great. So now with the navigation system up here, this index system, I could actually, I could start messing around with the Algorand stuff. So yeah, so I'm gonna mess with a little bit more. I can maybe spend another few minutes, and I'm gonna start. I'm gonna mess around with this. If you notice, this is a flex box, and it's just flexing out uh, something. What we could do is remember, let's flex out containers again. So now we've got over here, we've got the current page. Current page is over here under create current page, and we've got list items. These are basically list items. Every single one of them. There's not, I don't need a list item. We could just go ahead and take this key, and I'll go ahead and let's see. The only reason I did a list item was because this was a while back when I did this. I did this. I did UL and their list items. Okay, so sure, why not? We could continue with list items because technically it is like a list item. And we're just gonna put them. Let's continue. Let's see, create current page. Div. This div right here that all of the list items are in that contains the H2. Let's go ahead and let's put container class name equals container. And so now what we've got again is we've got these, and we're going to give them some MX Auto. Let's see what MX Auto does. So, and now let's take a look at what this is doing. You'll see that now these are actually in some sort of a container. Right, so this class is in a container. So now the containers are a little bit more contained. You'll notice that they are staying the same size. But let's do this is not, this is going a certain size if you notice. Let's see, I guess what we could do is we could mess with the width. So we could go with that width again, and we could do, what, 1/4 maybe? And let's take a look at when we go back to the width. Where's the width? It's up here a little bit more. width, right? So if we go to width, and remember we did, you could do fixed width number, but you could also do the fluid width, which is a fraction, 1/4. So you see that we're gonna do 1/4. That way we have 4 all the time. And so div class name, live. I think we should probably do this inside of the list item itself. So we're gonna go class name equals, and we're gonna do. I guess up here is where we're gonna do this. Let's take out this from this guy X and put it right here on this list item entirely. Container MX auto, and then we're gonna do with 1/4. So everyone is with 1/4, and there you go. So that's better. And look, we actually do see that. Okay, so we also kind of want to fix the height. So let's go height. Can we fix the height? Let's see. So this is where we can do the, let's see, disabling. So that has to do more with the text. You notice, because I guess it doesn't matter though, because it is fixing itself. It doesn't go like a weird grid. Every grid, it is still working. So that is what I'd have to do, is I'd have to work on this guy, which is, and I also need to center these pictures. So these images need to be centered also. So this image right here, we'll put this in the div. Actually, let's just do it right here in the div. This div will go class name equals, and this one does text center. So if we do that, that centers everything. If you notice now, everything is much more centered. The images, they have that, but that's not a big deal. That's better. But if you notice, the one problem we're going to have is when we get down to smaller screens. So we really want to do, at the small screens, we want to do that. That looks dumb. So we need to do the breakpoints. So what we do is, remember, let's go to the width now. And let's take a look at what we're going to do with these widths, what kinds of different widths. We're going to do width. The normal width we want to do, the first one is going to be width full, right? We want, if we go over here to the W full, so, let's go back to this. Where's the width? We had the width over here on the LIs, right? So width 1/4 is not right. First, we want to do width full. So that technically gives everything. The first width is full. So now you notice, look at this. Everything's gonna go one whole, it goes its own, the full width of the whole page. So that's that. But that's not what we want. We really only want that when we have, if you notice, it looks much nicer when we got, this is the concept of, okay. And then we also need to change that, but I'm not going to change that. I'm going to work on this. So you can see I have a problem with the index now. Now that index has that margin on the left-hand side that doesn't need to be there. So that's another thing that we could fix using these sizing utilities, the breakpoints. But we'll just keep focusing on these. So we've got this broken down now, which is fine on a small screen. It's fine on this size of screen. But once we get to a certain size of screen, we want them to continue getting bigger, So like, let's go ahead and now we could throw in, what we'll do is that medium, we'll see if medium is good. Medium, and we do width 1/2. So now let's take a look. So at medium, we're going to cut up to 1/2. So let's take a look at what that does. See, that looks nice. Doesn't that look nice? That looks pretty good. But then once we get to even bigger, let's go to large. At large, we'll go ahead and do large. We'll do the width equals 1/4. So now we've got it better laid out. So maybe this large is not large enough. Let's see. Yeah, because look at that. Large is pretty small. There's medium. Here's where we get to large, and you probably don't even want to do it at large yet. Maybe at large, let's do 1/3. Do we have 1/3? Can we set up 1/3? Let me take a look at what the width does. 1/3. It does have a 1/3. So at large, let's do 1/3. And then at extra large, we could do width 1/4. So now we're gonna have at large screens it's 3 and then 4. So that that's kind of interesting. Okay, I'm not sure why that's happening up at the top right here. Maybe that's just because there's not enough to go along, so it actually does it at the bottom. That's interesting. If you notice, there isn't a yeah, but it does still do the proper size. That is very interesting. There's only 2 up top, but then there's 3 going down. So that's got to be something built into it that I'm not sure what that is, but that is pretty cool. I actually see what's happening there. And it's instead of, and I would think that this would be better at the bottom. That at the bottom, I would want the last 2 since there's 20 and it's dividing by 3, so that means we've got 18 and then 19, 20. And these guys, if you notice, they're properly centered or properly spaced out up there. And then we got 2 and then 3 and then we got 4. And so that's really cool, how that works so easily in Tailwind. That's actually I think that's real easy. I think that's easier than Bootstrap, the way Bootstrap uses the rows and columns. So I am a big fan of this actually, because this is what I always find. This is what these things are very useful for doing, setting out these kinds of, because this happens a lot in all kinds of websites. This responsiveness, you need good responsiveness, and this is actually making it very easy, I think. Um, and it does it per element. I don't even have to worry too much about. With Bootstrap, you make rows, and so you kind of got to sometimes be careful about putting things in the right rows. Um, and this is kind of taking that all out of consideration. It's kind of making it a lot more simple. So I find that very interesting and very cool. So, but yeah, now we've got a good, decent little homepage that displays the information. I'm clearly gonna go back and redesign it, but I believe that these videos have been real helpful in showing how Tailwind actually works. So I hope that that's what, if you watch these, that you can get a good demonstration of how to work with Tailwind. And if you notice, there's still a lot more to cover. Like this up here needs to be designed out. The navigation, we don't need that. Let's go. The dashboard doesn't have anything going yet. The gallery, obviously, none of this really looks the greatest. I don't think it looks all the greatest. The colors aren't anything. I believe I can always go in and change the colors, and instead of just using named colors or using these named colors, I can actually change the values of the named colors. So I can still continue using named colors and go into the configuration and just change out uh the definition of that color. So that's, I can stay with these colors that I've got right now, and then just go in and change the hexadecimal value or the CSS value or whatever, and it'll change for everything. So that seems like a really cool way of doing things too. But I'm gonna go ahead and call this a night. Next time, I think I am already, since I've gotten some Tailwind out of the way. I do believe the next video tomorrow night, I will be able to go ahead and start getting into uh, probably messing with the dashboard. There's actually quite a bit to fix on this gallery. The gallery has some issues where when I click on the links, that they don't always work, because of certain issues. So, for example, I think 8 will be broken too, and so forth. But if we click back, I think it works all the way up till 6. And that has to do with some other issues. That, however, is React. That is Tailwind. I mean, not Tailwind, that's NextJS. So I will actually get more into the coding. You actually can see in this video quite a bit of the coding I think that's going on now. Um, with this create current page and this whole component right here, you'll notice that the HTML is split up in different areas for different things. And already just messing around with these class names and everything, it's getting kind of out of control. So you could see how, that's why it's nice to make, put them in their different parts so I don't get them confused. So that I know when I'm over here, I'm always working on the index and I don't get this confused with over here, the got the index and then I got the actual over here, I've got the list items, which were so anyway, so you in the next videos I probably will start getting more into this coding section and not just focused on the CSS styling. So hopefully if you've been, if you get a hold of this, go ahead and like the video, of course, and subscribe and all that fun stuff. And next time you come around, you'll see some more coding, I believe. So thank you, and I'm gonna go ahead and say good night. Have a good night. Goodbye.